So, in the process of releasing everything from the past, anything we may have had hope in, things that we admired that don't serve us now, just when you think it's all over with, a challenge comes. For me specifically, it's a cause that I can relate to. Try and be as brief as possible here. So, ex is friends with a judge, issued an illegal order, got custody of my children, and they were raised deprived contact of me. My mother, who was listed as a witness for the father's side, I never heard it out. But after the court ordered in his favor, of course, my mother calls me. Oh, you have to come back here. You have to fight for these kids. He won't even let me see them. You made your bed. You lay in it. So, I've lived with the consequences of this power play and this lie for the majority of my life. And that's okay. I mean, it's not okay what was done. The results are not okay. When children are taken by unjust means and by criminal acts, to which you have no how do you phrase it? There are technical words for it. You have no resources to make it right. And you learn to live with the fact that justice may never be served. So these people who act unjustly, they get the honor and title of parent to these children. They get the dysfunctional, codependent love, affection, credit, all the family time, all the glory. The world loves nothing more than a single father. Oh, how the women fawn over such men. Oh, their trials are so hard, so difficult. There's no shortage of women that will help them. I was told in one case where the man moved his entire household, his mother, his brother, father, up and moved. He quit his job, no forwarding address. Took me 4 years to find him with my daughter. And, you know, I called the child abduction unit. I called everybody to bring justice to this case, to let me see my daughter. And the district attorney said, listen, don't bring any of that up. You don't want to disturb the life that your daughter got accustomed to. And that's the big thing, you know. If you get involved with the state, that's what they'll tell you. Your kids are used to living in, for example, this household. So even though they took the kids from the area you're residing in and put them in a household in a different area, you have to move yourself, quit your job, get a new one, and go move so that the children's new reality is not disturbed. So I've lived with this and come to terms with it. Refocused in things I could hope for. So now that I've come out from within and doing the so-called shadow work, reconnecting with the heavens and outside consciousness, getting familiar with what's coming up, what we're going to face. You know, the government is using alien technology, or very much like alien technology, to shake people up with the drones. The plasma balls are side effects because the people who created these drones and these so-called spaceships didn't know how the technology worked. And so the side effect, the unforeseen consequences, are plasma balls and, you know, this fog and everything like that. And they're going to blame it on aliens. And then this Galactic Federation wants to approach humanity, but humanity's inculcated with fear of them. And genetic history, the programming, and the memories that people aren't even aware that they have are of fear or worship. Now we have a channeled entity. It calls itself Bashar. It's really more than one, but it's like a hive mind, and it's called the one who takes the lead. It's called Bashar, which just means messenger. These are the gray aliens that supposedly come from the future, but it's a different timeline. It's a parallel Earth. And they genetically altered themselves into not being able to reproduce. And of course, that the cloning that they do in order to perpetuate their species causes defects and poor health. So they came to Earth, they abducted people, took their genetic material, engaged in metaphysical protracting of etheric material, and they created a new species with their DNA mixed with human DNA. And they call them the Sasani, and they have their own society on their own parallel planet that they call, you know, like a parallel Earth. And it's an ideal society. It's what my heart and soul have yearned for my entire life. Now, I myself, I don't have any knowledge or awareness of having any children amongst the Sasani. But the few times that I looked in on the Bashar channelings, people in the audience have said, well, how many of these hybrid children are mine? And they'll be like, oh, you know, you have about this many. And they're like, well, can I talk to them? Can I get to know them? I mean, what's that syndrome where people are put in cages, or animals are put in cages, and they fall in love with the one holding them captive, their master? These people would give anything to talk to their children, get to know these superior children living this idyllic existence. And so Bashar's told them that they'll make contact around the year 2027, maybe sooner if they raise their consciousness enough so that they can meet their children. And maybe in the meantime they can interact with their children in the dream state and meditative state if their children want to reach them. Are you worthy of your own children? Here's the bait for the children. They're your children, and we're coming, and you have to give us what we want. All your psychic energy And then maybe, just maybe, your children will deem you worthy enough to be in touch with them. So with the history that I've had, of course, this is just the most vile, perverted, I mean, you take somebody, you rape them, you bear children from that rape, and then you dangle the children in this better life. It's like when somebody with more money gets custody of your children and everybody's like, oh, be happy for your children. They're getting a college education. They've got all the best things. The parent who did this does not get punished. They get protected so that they can maintain the standard of living that the children have been accustomed to. So now, of course, my first response to all this is just to get infuriated. And what wants to come up now is, these alien entities, these other beings, before this galactic federation united and started to stand up for the less developed worlds. Entire worlds and species had been destroyed. So we can be grateful that we haven't been destroyed, those children haven't been destroyed, because far worse things could happen to them. A lot of us would rather be dead than put up with something like that, live with it, and see those who have, I hate to use the word sin, but who have sinned against us unnaturally, to be rewarded and protected. So, of course, the Federation, they're a part of the Federation already, and the people on Earth will want nothing to do with any of it, will want to go to war against it, or those who have been listening to the channelings and been in contact with friendly aliens will want them here and protect them and want to jump on the bandwagon. And even if you keep a level head and you take your place in the galaxy, you have to deal with the diplomacy. Yeah. Socially, I am very, what they would consider left-wing, very accepting. I don't tolerate hatred of anybody based on gender, sexuality, species. I have friends that one believed he was a deer, and I understand how this consciousness can get downloaded into the human form, so I believe them. The trans, nothing but compassion and understanding for it. But having to put up with the diplomatic process and the denial for the good of the children, listening to people who have fallen for the mental game, that's just grates on the nerves. But it is what it is, and you move on, and you'll have supporters, people who understand. and plenty of other things to hope for, to focus on, to experience, to be a part of. And of course it would happen at this peak moment, at this crossroads. And, you know, once you get a grip of that there are parallel realities and things, you believe in the new earth concept. And like something came across my page, I don't know, as a psychic or probably another channeler. Oh yeah, it's a woman. And I just read the headline, like, well, you don't know what the new earth looks like because you haven't created it yet. It'll be there. And then there's the Anunnaki that supposedly come back every 2,000 years, and they're due to come back. That's probably why the religious systems that they established are being supported. Trump's not a believer, but he's very supportive of Christianity. He's going to be in favor, you know, with the Anunnaki if he can help it. Save his own butt and hopefully be appointed over, you know, as much of the world as he can get. It's just crazy. So with the Anunnaki coming back, supposedly what they do is they'll take select human beings, and this has been repeated throughout Earth's history. They genetically manipulate the species to create a slave race. Then they take some of them, the best of the best, back with them. It's 2 months' time for the people who have been taken, but when they come back to a whole new earth that's been totally destroyed. And some humans from the last visit, the last genetic altering, could have survived, along with a certain reptilian race underground. But I suspect that the promise of a new earth is going to be, oh, take 2 months here, we'll give you genetic alterations so you can live, you know, thousands of years or however long you want to, perfect health, and then we're going to bring you to the new earth where you're going to be in charge of starting the human race again and governing what's already there. And if I hadn't spent time in the darkness watching how the criminal element works, knowing that the politicians, they planned psychological games generations ahead of time because they knew that their children would inherit all the progress that they've done, all the social conditioning. These people are in it for the long game. These entities, these beings are, I don't even call them entities. They're just beings. They're another species. They've been in it for the long game. They live longer lives. It makes you think, you know, what chance do we have down here? But we do have a chance. We will be given a chance. It was amazing for me. I had been going through many years ago when I first came out of Christianity, was looking into paganism, was doing a witch's workbook, and one of the exercises was ask for your own creation story. And it was like, it was right there. In the beginning was the dance. It was all feeling and flowing, desire flowing into that desired feeling that, a new desire, and then came, I wonder what I look like, and then the clash. And that's when the feminine aspect, what the understanding that I've developed, became aware of the masculine aspect that was not aware that there was a feminine aspect. And so that's when all the chaos started. And of course, that, the first sparks of creation were the children of conflict. And they, with the spark, they just went propelling off into the universe, the galaxy, whatever. And for the first time, I think it's that astral projections, or I posted a video off of that channel recently. I saw that story. It's the first time I've ever heard a story like the one I was given for a creation story. And having had that experience of that story is a thing that gives me hope, that gives me confidence that I may feel alone down here, but I'm in touch with the absolute source of everything in all these dimensions, and it knows me. So I'm going to let that in, that confidence. I'm going to believe in that, because that I feel from deep within myself. It's just really cool to see the story portrayed by other people. It was really cool. So yeah, you get it going in the process. The vessel's becoming empty, and it's like, here, shove this one in there, and all the rest, you can feel, you can let go of. You've already lived through it. You can let go of it. There's greater beings, greater potentials. I don't need superpowers. I never sought after superpowers. I just wanted to be free, and I have freed myself. So now it's like, here's this thing. Are you gonna be able to let go of this one? Because you're still living it, and you're going to see the psychological game being played. You can be aware of every nuance of deceit and manipulation that's been put into place and plotted. Like, talk about a conspiracy theory. I always remind people, we were warned about FEMA, and that was dismissed as a conspiracy theory long ago, it seems like, in human years. And then all of a sudden, a national emergency comes up. This new agency, FEMA, is rolled out, and nobody remembers that it was a conspiracy theory, that people were ridiculed for speaking about it. They didn't even bother to rename it. They have so much confidence in their ability to write the narrative. And so I post something like this to convey to other people who don't believe the narrative, who know better than the narrative. You are not alone. Come find me, man. Tell me where to find you. I may or may not move. It's gotten to the point where I've been moved around so much in my life. My heart's desire was, find a place, let people come to me. That's what I intended for this stage of my life. So, come find me. I'll be here. I'll tell you, I see the same things. You're not alone in this. And together our energy will just be a huge antenna up to the people, the beings that will support us. Hopefully this helps somebody. You're not alone. It really is that bad. But there really is that much good coming our way too. It'll be okay.